Welcome to Mind the Business Radio, the radio show that helps you grow your business. And now, here's Suzanne, Darwin, and Ernie. All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Mind the Business Radio. I'm Darwin.
I'm Ernie.
And I'm Suzanne. Thank you for listening.
And our guest today is Diana Jennings, and our topic for this show today is how to harness the power of your nonverbal communication to attract business advancing opportunities. And we're glad to have Diana with us. Ernie, why don't you tell us a little bit about Diana?
Yeah.
Okay. Diana Jennings is known as the people branding expert. She teaches clients and audience members how to align their best self with their goals to produce results, attract opportunities, and improve their engagement at work. She'll challenge you to rise above and view your life as an objective observer. Her keynotes and workshops help individuals to self-evaluate how they operate in the world and fine-tune their awareness in how others perceive them. As a personal brand and image strategist, she'll share best practices to attract business advancing opportunities and generate faster results with colleagues and clients. Diana empowers others with tools and knowledge that will promote personal growth, self-confidence, and help them move closer toward their professional goals. So, Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here with the three of you.
So, like Darwin said, the topic is how to harness the power of your nonverbal communication to attract business advancing opportunities. And, you know, when you said that people are one opportunity away from advancing their career, business, and life. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I do believe that people are one opportunity away from changing the course of their career, their business, and their life. Most people, I believe, rely on the fact that they just they come across opportunities. But I believe that we all have the ability to position ourselves to attract opportunities. And I know this to be true because it's what happened to me. Can I share a little bit of my story with you?
Yes, you
Absolutely.
can. Absolutely.
Okay, terrific. Well, that one opportunity placed me in an industry where I was able to not only earn more money, but it placed me in the middle of a different category of workforce talent, professional development opportunities, and an entirely different social network that included all levels of society because of the volunteer work that I got involved in. And when I thought about what made it possible for me to attract that one life-altering opportunity, I didn't know it then. But what I essentially did was I harnessed the power of my nonverbal communication. Mm-hmm. So what happened was I went from the cosmetics industry, where I basically sold $25 products, to Silicon Valley, where within 9 years I was selling voice and data communication systems worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Wow.
And so that leap in industry, I have to tell you, it happened without me having high ticket sales experience. Mm-hmm. I didn't have corporate experience. I had zero knowledge in technology. And as much as I hate to admit it, I didn't even have a college degree. But, you know, that one opportunity was someone saying to me, you know, Diana, I think you'd be really good at sales. And then they referred me to someone that was hiring. You know, wow. Especially in today's environment, I don't have to tell you or your listeners how competitive it is out there. But you need to realize that people who can potentially refer, hire, promote, or even date you are sometimes forced to look for reasons, no matter how small, to narrow the field. Mm-hmm. You know, so let me throw a question out to the three of you. Okay. So what are some of the visual cues that might cause you to lower or raise your opinion of someone?
What they're wearing.
Yeah.
The way they carry themselves.
I think another one, too, is their personality, their attitude.
Yeah, exactly. And earlier this week, there was a parent sitting in a presentation that I gave, and she said she was on a field trip with her daughter's grade school, and the principal was there and wearing, just casual clothes, but she exposed a huge tattoo on her back. And it gave her a different picture of who that principal was. So these are just some examples of how our nonverbal communication can either work for or against us. And the whole thing with nonverbals is that they can really help you reinforce the quality not only of your potential, but your knowledge, your skills, and your talent.
So it's like, developing your personal appearance as well as your approach personally, a personality and stuff.
Absolutely. And, when you mentioned appearance, so, when it comes to just how you show up, the key is to not do anything that can give others a reason to think that you might not be the best choice, you might not be trustworthy, that you don't know better, you don't care, or worst of all, that you might be difficult to work with.
Yeah, it's like the first time I met Ernie when I looked at him and I said, wow, who's this guy?
No, you know what? I have to tell you, I have to tell this story, but one time I applied for a radio job. And so I went to the radio station. I was dressed in a suit. And some of the people that just got off air were leaving the station, and they were dressed in sweats and T-shirts and sneakers. And then the person that came to interview me got me out of the lobby, and as we were walking to her office, she said, Ernie, I don't know if I should interview you or ask you for a raise.
Yeah.
Well, you look like the boss.
You did, yeah. Radio's a little different because, there's no cameras or anything, except for today. There's a lot of radio stations now that have live video feeds and stuff. But I think what you were saying is even that, Ernie did the right thing in dressing up and impressing.
Oh, absolutely, because what it told the person that was interviewing him was that he cared enough to bring his best to that interview. But Darwin, what you were saying made me think, it's not just in our career, but how people respond to us. If we have to conduct business at the bank, if we want to return something at the department store, people are going to look at us and they're going to judge us. It's just something that we just can't get away from.
So what do you think are the more important nonverbal communication skills?
Well, how we show up is the biggest, because we are such visual beings. Everybody is going to believe what they see with their own eyes. And we live in a society, it's such a fast-paced society that we are looking for cues and clues to help us make our decisions just that much faster. So the visuals, absolutely. But, consistency is key. Consistency in all aspects, because people are looking for inconsistencies between what they see, what they know, and what they hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
To make their decisions, to base their decisions on.
Okay. So is it important for someone who's, going out for an opportunity to dress according to the opportunity? Let's say if it's a professional opportunity or it's a creative opportunity, that kind of a thing. Is there different ways of approaching each of those differently, or whatever they may be?
Well, there is. And a lot of people think when they're, for example, in an interview situation, dressed to impress, we often hear, and they often think, okay, well, a suit. But it's not just what you wear, it's how you wear it. And it's not about just wearing a uniform, but it's about understanding design elements, the elements of clothing that affect visual authority.
Wow.
So we can very easily tweak the message that we convey to convey a level of authority and credibility with certain design elements, but then bring out our personality, because the last thing we want, is a bunch of canned suits, walking around. We have to show our personality. It's all about being authentic and representing who we are. But the key message, or the key takeaway here, is to start with the message in mind. What is it that you want to communicate? And then present yourself, dress in a manner that's going to reinforce that message.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. Wow. We're hearing a lot of good stuff today from Diana, and it's just really exciting to have her on the show. I don't even think we've ever even approached this topic on the show, but I'm certainly glad we're doing it today.
It's about time.
Yes, it is. Everybody, you're listening to Mind of Business Radio. It is that time to take a quick little break, and we'll be back right after this. I'm Darwin.
I'm Ernie.
And I'm Suzanne.
And we'll be back right after this. Jaybird Designs is a photographic design company offering beautiful photography that can be printed on almost anything, like wraparound canvases, coffee mugs, t-shirts. We offer great gift ideas for your family and friends. Go to www.zazzle.com/jaybird-designs. That's www.zazzle.com/jaybird-designs.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this edition of Mind the Business. I'm Ernie.
I'm Darwin.
And I'm Suzanne. Thank you so much for listening.
And today we're talking with Diana Jennings, who is talking to us about how to harness the power of your nonverbal communications to attract business advancing opportunities. And so in this segment, we're going to be talking about aligning your personal brand with the brand of your business. So what does that mean?
Well, I think when most business owners think about branding, they spend all their time and resources on branding their products and services, not necessarily their personal brand. Most probably don't even stop to think how their personal brand is intertwined with the brand of their business. And I think it's because most people are confused about what their personal brand actually is. So I'd like to take a minute to just break it down for you.
Sure.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay. So your personal brand is the entire package of your experience, your education, the results you produce. It includes what you do and how you do it, your verbal and nonverbal communication, and all that's combined with your physical appearance. Then you have the personal branding process, which enables you to manage and really take control of how others are going to perceive and experience you. The bottom line is it's all about being authentic, and it's not about gimmicks, trends, or even manufacturing an image for the outside world. Like, PR, they'll spin someone's image in their favor. But if we uncover our strengths and the value that we bring, then we can figure out how to strategically convey that in all we do. And aligning, and then more importantly, aligning those strengths and value with everything that surrounds us. That goes back to the consistency that we were talking about a few minutes ago. And all that will put us on a straighter path to going from where we are today to ultimately where we want to be.
Okay.
So, when we think about projecting, it's those traits, how we go about projecting those traits. It's what's going to differentiate us from all those who possess the same qualifications we do. And that's how we ultimately communicate our unique value.
So kind of helping us stand out.
Well, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
How do we stand out from everyone else? One of the things that I talk about is if you think about a brand and a commodity, you think of commodities as being pork bellies, crude oil, coffee. All right. You can take one bag of beans or a barrel of crude and you can interchange one with the other. The only difference is price. So nobody gets excited about commodities.
No.
But if you think of a brand like Starbucks, okay, it's the only place where you can get a half-calf, triple skim milk caramel macchiato, all right, for upwards of $4.50.
Yeah.
Where, two doors down at the donut shop, you can get a cup of coffee for $1.
I know. Yeah.
All right. And so the thing is, Starbucks gives you an experience.
Okay.
Where you can only get at Starbucks. So for our listeners, if you're thinking about what you do, your job title, you need to look at it as a commodity.
Okay.
All right, because if someone has that exact same job title, to one person to another, you can just replace one broker with another broker.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a unique ingredient, if you do something of value that people can only get from you, then you're on to something.
Okay.
That's your unique differentiator.
Okay.
And that's what's going to help people connect emotionally with you.
No, that's great. I have a little quick story about something that happened to Ernie and I. We were on a shoot, and I was the camera guy, and Ernie was the reporter, and we were doing the circus coming into town. And
oh boy.
And we just pulled up, and there was another guy going to help us out, a grip that was going to help us out. And we were there in the parking lot. You want to kind of reiterate what was going on?
Well, he brought his personal brand with him.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
In other words, he showed up in his clown costume because he used to work for the circus. So there was the reporting team, the two of these gentlemen that I'm sitting next to, and they were being followed by a clown.
Big shoes. He had the makeup on. And
the red nose, everything.
And it was kind of weird because we were walking in front of the other television reporters and stuff, and they said, gosh.
You brought your own clown.
You brought your own clown. So
that poor man took his personal brand, I think, a little too far that day, don't you think?
He even branded us a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was.
Oh, that's great.
That was. We just thought. I just thought I'd share that because when you were talking about the branding and stuff, sometimes we can go a little overboard.
Well, you know what? That's so true because I met somebody at one point at an event. And this woman was wearing red earrings, red necklace, red shoes, because red was her branded color. Mm-hmm. So someone along the way, this is where it gets into gimmicks. Somewhere along the way said, wear your branded color.
Oh.
And it sometimes when we do that, it comes across as costume. And can work against us because then people don't take us seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there's our clown.
At least she didn't show up at a funeral.
Or something like that.
Wearing red, absolutely.
Wearing red, yeah. So, I mean, we should take the time before we even go to an opportunity to double check the way we look and what we're wearing, kind of be a little bit more critical to ourselves.
Well, yeah, I often suggest that it's very difficult, but we need to take the emotional element out of assessing ourselves. We almost have to fly 30 feet above and kind of be that objective observer to see, okay, how really are we operating? Look at ourselves as being someone else. How are people responding? Because in a business situation, people don't do business with products and services. They do business with people. Mm-hmm. So branding is about making emotional connections with others so that they get to know, like, and trust us, which ultimately helps us produce faster results.
So are you saying that when you start a business, you have to work on your personal brand first before you start branding your business?
Yes, because your personal brand is intertwined with the brand of the business. It's your values, it's your strengths, it's your vision that you bring to the business. And, that's a good point. Not only the business owner's brand, but it is in the business owner's best interest to also make sure that the employees are really dialed in to what their personal brand is. Because a business is only as strong as the people who represent it, the employees that represent it. And employees will do a better job of representing the brand of the company if they really know what their own brand is. They understand what their strengths are and what they bring to the table. They really know what their values are, and they're aligning. It gives them the opportunity to align who they are with what they do so they can ultimately achieve what they want and feel more fulfilled in the work that they do.
All right. I think the one thing we learned on this segment is actually making sure you're the brand, you're the one representing your company or your startup, and you need to make sure that you, being the brand, it can be the best you can be, and this is kind of really important to learn, and I'm glad we have Diana here sharing this information. Everybody, you're listening to Mind the Business Radio. I'm Darwin.
I'm Ernie.
And I'm Suzanne.
And you know what? We're going to be right back right after this.
Does your business sell products or send data to customers in Europe? Do customers from the European Union stay at your hotel or bed and breakfast? If you answered yes, then a new international law applies to you. It's called GDPR, and it could potentially bankrupt your business if you choose to ignore it. To find out more about GDPR, go to www.mindthebusinessradio.com and click on the GDPR Turbo Pack link. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Mind the Business. I'm Suzanne Strong.
I'm Darwin Strong.
And I'm Ernie Costello.
And I'd like to say hello to our dear friends listening to us in England today. Our guest today is Diana Jennings, who's the people branding expert. I like that because people need to be branded. Diana, thank you for all your information. We've been talking about images, and we've been talking about the way people can project nonverbal signs, and then the way we as the audience read them, and all kinds of uniform issues. And I'm supposed to ask you about perception is reality, but we can get to that in a little bit. But I was thinking about, we were talking about uniforms, and we were talking about how men have a certain uniform, and sadly, sometimes women have a certain uniform. I was thinking, while you guys were discussing that, about a restaurant that some people may be familiar with. It's called Ruby's. And it's in Southern California, Northern California, and I think probably the western parts of the United States. And I remember the last time I was there, the poor waitress was wearing this really skimpy little outfit, which didn't look comfortable, but was projecting an image of, this waitress lady from like the 40s. And so, I made an instant judgment about what she was wearing and what she was supposed to project. I was also thinking during that segment about the ladies who worked at a place called Hooters. They project a certain image, which they're sort of stuck with, or maybe they're okay with, or maybe they ignore that part. But why is it, Diana, that we like to stick poor waitresses in awful costumes? Is that just something, is that a stereotype? Is that just meant to sell more drinks or more hamburgers? What kind of comment can you make on that?
Well, they're trying to be consistent with their brand. I mean, if you think you had mentioned Hooters, you mentioned Ruby's, they have a theme, and they are trying to communicate that through how their waitresses dress. They're reinforcing what their brand is. Sadly, in some cases.
Sadly. Because my image goes, oh, this poor girl has to wear this. What if she doesn't want to wear this, but she's just doing it because the tips are good? That kind of thing.
Right. But when it comes to image, the bottom line is it working for us or is it working against us? Are we achieving everything we want in our business, in our career, in our life? If we are, status quo, there's no reason to change. But if we're not, if we're struggling to attract opportunities, if we're not moving ahead, then that's time to pause and to do a little bit of reflection on what might be holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, as I said earlier, I mean, sometimes people are forced to look for reasons, no matter how small, to narrow the field. I mean, we're programmed to look for inconsistencies in what we hear, know, and see before we making decisions. And what people need to realize, not only business, I mean, I think businesses understand this, but people also need to understand that the brand lives in the hearts and minds of the people who experience us, experience our brand. If they don't believe it, it isn't so.
All right.
So, well, you know, so if you develop a personal brand, you also have to really convey that to the people that you interact with, because if they don't have that same branding of you, what happens?
They're not going to, I mean, so
there's no congruency there.
If there's lack of congruency, then you're not going to be top of mind for opportunities. You know, those opportunities are going to pass you by. You know, the bottom line is we are either positioning ourselves to attract opportunities, and if we're not attracting them, what are we doing? We're deflecting them. And we can use these resources that we have available to us. We can get smarter about how we present ourselves, be objective by looking at all aspects of our life to say, okay, I have these strengths. These are my gifts. These are my skills. This is what I want to be known for. How am I representing that? How am I conveying that? Not just in how I look, but how I interact with others, how I represent myself online, how when I write posts, when I'm frustrated, what am I communicating about myself? I mean, you know, let's be honest. I mean, it's all about us. I mean, what is it that I want to achieve? And anyone who's reached any level of success is going to say that they didn't get there alone. You know, they had people around them. And I love Zig Ziglar's quote. What did he say? He said, you can't have everything in life, everything you want in life, if you will just help other people get what they want. So what are we doing to help engage others, to help foster relationships? That's what it is. How can we use our image, how we carry ourselves to foster relationships? Because the bottom line is we want opportunities. People need to know, like, and trust us.
Yeah, you know, I think what I probably should have asked you was, you know, since we brought up perception as reality, so that you yourself have a personal brand, but if other people around you don't have that same image, that's the reality, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And does that mean that you haven't branded yourself well enough? They just didn't get it?
Well, we all have a brand. The question is, are we purposeful about it?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the process of uncovering. So the whole process is about uncovering what our strengths are.
Okay.
All right. We have to measure. We have to take a look at how we see ourselves, what we aspire to be. But most important, we really do need to measure perception, because we need to do a gap analysis. How wide is that gap between how others perceive us, how we perceive ourselves, but more importantly, where we want to ultimately be? You know, how wide is that gap? Because not until we understand that, we can't put a strategic plan in place to narrow that gap. And if you're not clear on what it is that you want, who you are, how can you position your messaging to work for you, to be purposeful in what you communicate?
So you really have to do a lot of self-analysis.
Yes, absolutely. That's the biggest part of the branding process, is to do a lot of introspective work.
In other words, who am I? What do I want to show people? What do I want people to perceive of me? And how do I want them to react to me when they first meet me?
Yes. And what do I aspire to be? If we don't have that clear vision, we have nothing to point our brand to. Our vision, what we want for our life, that is our true north.
Mm-hmm.
That is our true north. That's what keeps us on path. Yes, we may take a detour here and there, but the clearer we are, the quicker we will get back on track.
Yeah, I know it's hard work to do that because, I'm still working on that checklist that you gave me a few months ago. There's a lot of thinking to do.
That's right. It is not a one and done exercise.
Yeah.
By no means. This is a way of how it's our professional development. It's our personal development. It's our roadmap for how we're going to get from where we are to where we want to be.
Wow.
But it sounds to me like this is something that people just don't know off the top of their head, or maybe they've not ever thought about. Maybe we've spent too much time worrying about our degrees and our education and, what kind of car we drive, and we haven't really worked on ourselves.
Well, that's true to a certain extent, but a lot of the personal branding process, the elements of uncovering who you are, to do that introspective work, people have done it throughout their life. If they do goal setting, if they think about what it is that they really want, there are elements of it that, yes, they have done, but they've just never harnessed it all together and been strategic about it.
Okay. Wow. So it's just it's something that can't be done overnight. It's something you're really going to have to take a lot of introspective looking at yourself.
Yeah, it does because, like I said, Diana handed me a checklist back in April. I'm still working.
What number are you on?
What number are you on, Ernie?
No, it's a lot of thinking.
Yeah. Is that something you're not used to, or a lot of thinking? No. Just joking.
Kidding you, right?
Just kidding you. Don't worry.
No, I like the fact that at least there's a checklist. Can you give us a couple of those checklist items, Diana?
Well, actually, how strong is your brand quiz is on my website.
Okay. Cool. You know what? We need to take a quick break, and then we'll get back to that. And we're talking with Diana, and all this information is fascinating and wonderful to have. So we're going to get back to more of that right after this. You're listening to Mind the Business Radio, and we'll be back right after this.
Does your business sell products or send data to customers in Europe? Do customers from the European Union stay at your hotel or bed and breakfast? If you answered yes, then a new international law applies to you. It's called GDPR, and it could potentially bankrupt your business if you choose to ignore it. To find out more about GDPR, go to www.mindthebusinessradio.com and click on the GDPR Turbo Pack link.
Welcome back, everybody, to Mind the Business. I'm Darwin.
I'm Ernie.
And I'm Suzanne.
And we're talking today with Diana Jennings, and we're talking about us, really.
People branding.
Us, people, how we perceive ourselves and how we want other people to perceive us in our attitudes and in the way we dress, and it's just about you. And this next question, it really does start with you. Is your self-image working for you or against you? I think that's one of the biggest questions that we can ask. Is it, Diana?
Yes, it is. And, so our self-image, it's actually a mental blueprint that we have of who we are. Mm-hmm. And it was Dr. Malcolm Maltz that described our self-image as a success or failure mechanism, actually. Mm-hmm. So this self-image your self-image is your perception of who you are. And the interesting thing is that it's been formed throughout your entire life by all that you've experienced, what you believe, your successes, your failures, your embarrassments, what you've achieved, and the feelings you've had based on the reactions of other people throughout your entire life. You know, once all those beliefs or experiences have formed a mental picture, it actually becomes true in your mind. Unfortunately, most people don't even question the validity of that mental picture, and they'll go through life, you know, as though that mental picture is an actual fact. You know, so another way of thinking about this is that your self-image is your brain's programming code.
Okay.
To self-realization. I mean, so I'll give you an example. So over the years, I've worked with women and men to adjust their their outside image, executive presence, you know, so to align their goals and reflect what they want and need to be perceived in advance, you know, to help them advance in their careers. And so shortly after they begin, these are the stories that I would hear, that they'd begin to experience new reactions from other people. And as subtle as those reactions might have been, those positive responses automatically began to transform the picture that they carried of themselves.
Okay.
So, you know, our actions, feelings, behaviors, and what we believe we can do is directly linked to how we see ourselves. And for that reason, no matter, and this is why it's about authenticity, because no matter how hard we might try, we're not able to sustain actions, feelings, or behaviors that are inconsistent with that mental picture that we have of ourselves over an extended period of time.
Okay.
Oh, so we can't really learn how to overcome that basic programming in our head? We have to fight against that constantly?
Yeah, so that's why it's important to have a positive mental picture. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to revert back to a mental picture that's telling us, no, we can't, we're not good enough. You know, that self-image is where your self-esteem, your confidence, and your self-imposed limitations are born.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a constant struggle, sounds like.
For some people, it is. You know, that self-image, it's really our built-in automatic, it's our navigation system.
Okay.
And, you know, and as I said earlier, it'll either work for us as a success mechanism or it'll work against us as a failure mechanism.
Okay. Wow. I guess that means that even some people that go to college and get all this education and they get degrees and stuff, but if they don't have that self-image, that may not mean anything really if they don't present themselves. And that's probably why some people who have a great self-image and, you know, they just know how to put it together and how to sell themselves and maybe not have the college degree gets further ahead.
Darwin, you said something that was a trigger for me in wanting to start this business, because when I was in Silicon Valley, I would meet individuals who were absolutely brilliant. They had the education, they had the experience, but they might not have had the entire package, and it's what held them back in their careers.
Wow.
And I saw it firsthand.
You know, and that's true. And we've met entrepreneurs that are just, you know, they didn't have the education, but they had something about them that just drew people to them. And, you know, they're multi-billionaires, millionaires right now. And, you know, they just knew how to do it.
I think when we have a vision that's so strong, it fuels us. We exude an energy. And I'll talk about energy some more in a minute, but we exude an energy that people connect with.
Yeah, okay.
If that mental picture that we have of ourselves, if our outlook, if our mindset is in hope, is in positivity, we operate as human beings at a higher vibration in this world. But if our self-image, it's negative, we have a pessimistic mindset, we operate at a much lower frequency. I'm not an expert in energy, but I know, as much as what I'm telling you now, and I hope to be able to have other discussions with people that are experts in this energy field, because they'll tell you this exact same thing. The positive, the uplifting, we operate at a higher frequency. We connect with people at that higher frequency. When people say, oh, that person has charm and charisma, that's what people are feeling. They're feeling that positive energy that they want more of it.
Makes you happy.
So they're gravitating towards them. That's be an opportunity magnet. We attract opportunities. We attract like energy.
Wow.
If we're always negative and down mindset, that's what we're going to attract.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And who wants to be there?
Exactly. Life's too short.
No, I like to party.
Yeah. Sure you do.
Yeah, well, okay. Every once in a while.
Play that music loud,
Play that music loud, yeah. Rock and roll. No, I agree with you. I think it's how you perceive yourself. It's how you perceive the way you look, and it's how you want to interact with others that's going to make you a success or not so much of a success. So it's not really the head knowledge, even though the head knowledge is important, but it's more important how you really present yourself to others.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, we have to have the skills to be able to back it up.
Yes.
And as I said to you, so kind of going back to my story a little bit, so I made that leap from one industry to a completely unrelated one without all that experience that my peers had. And trust me, I mean, there were times when I lucked out and a door would open, I'd walk through, and I'd have a success. But there were plenty of times when a door would open, I'd walk through and I'd fall flat on my face because I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the experience or the knowledge. But the bottom line is that I very easily, trust me, I could have just stopped right there. But my vision, my goals were so big and so crystal clear in my mind that that's what helped me get up. And even though I felt like a fool, I felt like a failure, I felt, my confidence was shot.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah, I have to do it because what I want to achieve is so much greater.
So basically the skills are the tools, and everything else is the artwork and finesse of how you want to present your abilities.
Yeah.
So
it's an art and a science.
It's an art and a science. All right. Well, we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back with Diane. Yeah, I know. The
Going
show's
fast
just
today. I don't know what the deal is.
Flying away. Anyway, we're going to come back and talk more with Diana. You're listening to Mind of Business Radio. I'm Darwin.
I'm Ernie.
And I'm Suzanne.
And we'll be back right after this.
Does your business sell products or send data to customers in Europe? Do customers from the European Union stay at your hotel or bed and breakfast? If you answered yes, then a new international law applies to you. It's called GDPR, and it could potentially bankrupt your business if you choose to ignore it. To find out more about GDPR, go to www.mindthebusinessradio.com. and click on the GDPR Turbo Pack link.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this edition of Mind the Business. You can listen to this show and previous shows on our new website, www.mindthebusiness. Oh, no, sorry. I'm so used
You're doing
to
the old one.
The old one. It's mtbradio.net. But you can still get us on our old web address, which is mindthebusinessradio.com.
Yeah, and we're also on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn. They just picked us up, so they're playing our show on TuneIn. So we're in Google Play. We're there too. So.
We're all over the place.
We forgot to promote the show. We got so involved with this.
You guys are doing people branding. I'm sorry.
We forgot to brand. What's wrong with us?
Anyway, we've been talking to Diana Jennings, who is the people brand expert. So, Diana, could you tell us a little bit more about your business?
Absolutely. Well, I am just really passionate about working specifically with career-minded individuals to help them attract the opportunities to advance in their careers. And I do this through coaching programs, group workshops. I speak to groups, and I'm really excited that by the early part of next year, I'll be releasing my first book.
Oh,
wow.
Cool. Oh, we'll have to have you back once that's done.
Great. I'd love to come back. But I'd love to invite your listeners to visit my website.
Please.
At www.diana, D-I-A-N-A, Jennings, JENNINGS.com. And on my website, they can download a free guide to building a stronger personal brand. So that'll go into a little bit more detail of what I talked about today.
Okay.
But also there is the How Strong is Your Brand quiz.
Okay, we all want to take it.
Yeah,
I love
a
tests.
couple of downloads. And also, I don't send a lot of emails, but if you do download either one, you'll get information about the new book as it becomes available.
Okay. I know Ernie's still struggling with the test.
Well, it's not like it's true or false on multiple choice. I mean, you actually...
Oh, really?
Yeah, you actually have to analyze yourself. I mean, and be honest, be honest with the perception of yourself too.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. No, it really is. And I think I encourage everyone to go to Diana's site and take the little quiz. And start finding out about yourself and tweaking who you are. Opportunities will start coming to you, and that's just basically what you want.
Yeah, maybe there's something you haven't thought about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But and there might be moments of embarrassment when you start thinking about
if we
with us,
like we haven't been embarrassed before.
Oh yeah. When you're in the media, it just happens.
Yeah, it does.
Those moments come if you're truly being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to take the quiz.
Yeah.
Diana, thank you for a great show. And like I said, once that book's ready, we're going to call.
You bet. We'll have you back on the show, and we'll talk about the book. So you can talk
about that. But this is a fabulous topic. We didn't really get to talk too much about one thing I wanted to delve into. Maybe we'll do that next time, which is your online image matters. And I guess people don't always think about that. So maybe you'll have to enlighten us next time about that.
Yeah. But, maybe we can have Diana look at our website and see what she thinks. Wow. Would you do that for us?
Well, you know what? The online image is just another way that you communicate your personal brand.
Okay.
So starting with understanding of what your brand is and then strategically conveying it, and your website is just one way that you do that.
Okay.
Good. And speaking of websites, why don't you give out your website again, Diana?
Sure. It's www.diana, that's with one N, Jennings.com.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for being on the show. We're going to have you back. This has been an absolute blast.
Thank you. I've had a great time with the three of you.
All right.
We try.
And we try. And everyone, you've been listening to Mind of Business Radio. I'm Darwin.
I'm Ernie.
And I'm Suzanne.
And you know what? We'll be back. And we'll be talking about some more great stuff and topics right here on Mind of Business. Thank you for listening. Mind the Business Radio was produced in association with Taylor Pacific Video. Copyright 2018.